perceptions, awakening to the joy of life.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Olga Davidson Awakening podcast. Today, my guest is Aude Olivia. She's an empowerment coach, author, and award-winning startup CEO who built and sold 2 software companies before leaving her corporate life to find her true self, awaken her feminine energy, travel the world, and study with the world's best teachers. She now teaches Tantra, breathwork, and shadow work. She's been coaching courageous souls to release body shames, energy blocks, and fears for 8 years now so they can live a life filled with power, peace, and pleasure. And she is now living in a beautiful place in Mexico, in San Miguel. And we recently met at Vipassana Retreat. And we're going to share this story a little bit later. But it was a magical coincidence the way we've met. And before we start, I would love to ask the traditional question. If you ever had a moment of awakening when your life was separated for before and after.
Yes, totally. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here. I'm also very happy that we met at Vipassana. And interestingly, my moment of awakening, of transition, started with Vipassana. So I was living a very traditional, conservative life. I was living the American dream. I was living in Boston to build my first startup. So we did a software as a service for companies to manage all of their donation and volunteering programs. So we added gamification, and anyways, it was a very sexy startup, and I was working all the time, and I was very much in my masculine energy. Always thinking, doing. All I was thinking about is making more money, and I was on this rat race, thinking that would make me happy and I would be liberated. So then we had a business trip to India because most of our development team was over there. So we went. I was so happy to discover this beautiful land, very different from Boston, of course. And the meetings were quite boring and serious. And so I remember waiting for the next meeting and everyone was kind of down and the vibe was not uplifting. But there was one man that came in the room and he was glowing. He was smiling. He was so happy. And I was shocked by his good vibes, his energy. And I asked him, why are you smiling like this? And he told me, I just came back from Vipassana. I was like, what is that? What is Vipassana? There was nothing spiritual about me at that point. I was just like a little shark, just wanted to like win this race. So he told me Vipassana, and then he explained that it's 10 days in silence. You meditate, you observe your breath and so on. And everyone laughed at him. They were like, I cannot even sit for 5 minutes, So I was like, oh yeah, no one can do it. I can do it. So it was all ego. I was like, just me wanting to prove myself, to win once again. But sometimes it's good, The ego can lead us to good places if we use it well. So I signed up for Vipassana that very night without having meditated 1 minute in my life. And then the event came. My boyfriend drove me to Vipassana. And I was so afraid that I would awaken, that I would lose myself, that I would become a monk and shave my head. I didn't know that spirituality only means to be more of ourselves. That we don't lose our essence, it just reveals it. So for me, like spirituality was like a cult, I didn't understand that it could make room for more of my truth to be expressed. So I went and I hated it. I was like, this is stupid. Like, why are we focusing on this little area? I felt bad for people, like I was full of judgment and quite arrogant, like in my early 20s, I really felt that I knew everything. And now I realized it's like I have much bigger questions now. So life humbled me. But anyways, I was there and I was like, oh, whatever, this is stupid, but I'm here for 10 days, so I might as well try it. And so on the 4th day, I decided to actually try Vipassana. I'm like, follow the teaching and do the technique. And what happened shook me to my core. And it dismantled all of my perceptions of the world in this purely physical form. That for me, that which was true was only the observable, that which my five senses could see. So on the fourth day, I was meditating and applying the technique. Finally, I surrendered. And all of a sudden, my awareness shifted 4 feet up and I had an out of body experience.
Wow.
And that was crazy because for someone who was as pragmatic, as grounded as I was, like the Taurus in me was like all about the body and like, was quite stubborn. Like that was like a slap in the face. It was like, there's more than that. There's more to this world. And so I had this out of body experience. I went to see the teacher, and obviously, Vipassana is wonderful, but there's not a lot of room for mystical experiences. They always just, no, just come back to your breath. They discard any kind of magical, it's not magic, it's just
or
like
pleasurable experiences.
Yeah, like exactly. If you have an energetic orgasm or any of that, they'll be like, what is that? Shut it down and open your eyes and, I get it. It could get out of control. I respect that. But anyway, so then I would meditate in my room. And it's a good thing and a challenging thing. I experienced, dissolution and like just I was a field of light. And it was really like mind blowing. But at the same time, then I experienced, the dark side of attachment, like wanting to reproduce that and the pressure that
Yeah.
was put on myself. My like driven business self who wanted to like do like spiritual performance. Like I wanted to dissolve and experience benga. So that was my second Vipassana was different, but that was enough for me to realize that there was more to life than the observable world. That for someone who's as curious as me, it was like I opened a door, I lifted the veil, and it was like, what else? What else? It really shook all my perceptions, and I was forced to admit that there was more than that. So that was
Wow.
the shifting point. And then I came back and I was trying to act like I was normal, like nothing has changed because I had the perfect job, the perfect boyfriend. Like I was living the American dream, everything was set. It's really scary for people who have these things to let go of that. Even if you feel like you're in the movie, but you're like, I should be happy, but for some reason, something doesn't feel right. Something isn't fulfilling. And it takes so much courage to answer that call and to be like, okay, I will let go of all the good things that everyone seeks for and just take another route. So that was the turning point.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing. That was
My
such a
pleasure.
brave action. Wow. And a little bit more content. The whole idea of Vipassana is about to live in this equanimity state. So you're not trying to avoid pain when you're uncomfortable, and you're not trying to seek pleasure when you start to feel all these different divine experiences. And this is the wisdom which Vipassana teach and which is applicable in life, because we only have two motivations to take any type of actions. We either avoid pain, so we quit job, or we are like escape relationships. Or we seek pleasure. We fell in love with somebody, so we change our entire style around that person, and that's how we do everything. And Vipassana helps to understand that on a deep physical level and also on a deep mental level, because we spend 10 days in just this practice, and we're not allowed to talk, we're not allowed to use any phones, books, journals, we can't draw, we can't do anything except to meditate and to go within us. And that may be, like for me, for example, it was the hardest experience I've ever had in my life. And also one of the most profound, because it was the opportunity to meet my truth self and to reevaluate my values, my views at the life, relationship, the way I build relationship, my purpose. Because when you end up by being with yourself for 10 days, your brain, it's like an onion. and it starts to shed layer by layer. And first, it's just random thoughts, then it's random memories. Then you go deeper and deeper. And like, if there is any traumatic experiences in your life, they go up on the surface. If there is any unresolved issues, unfinished business with anyone, if you own somebody or somebody owns you, that comes up too on the surface. And then the beautiful cleansing happens. And yeah, this is really powerful experience. And that experience brought us together. Yes.
Yes. Yes, it's a beautiful explanation. Like the ability to be with what is, to bring loving presence to these blockages or densities within us is what transmutes it. So you and I are planning a beautiful retreat right now. And
Yes.
so there are a lot of things we can do in meditation, and we'll meditate differently at the retreat. That being said, what people like you and I do, we act as mirrors. And so we show people's truth. And so that's why I also have coaches, is because I'm able to stand there and reflect people's truth and show them their blind spots so that they can bring awareness, and I can hold their hands and go in these spaces that can be scary, that we tend to avoid. The problem now, we have so many tools to avoid ourselves, to be distracted. We have social media, we have food, we have all these things. So we're never really present with, the parts of us that are angry, that are sad. And so as beautiful as Vipassana is, I love it. It's great. And we need these safe spaces in which we have room to emote and to release these blockages, these things that are preventing our full energy from passing through. You see what I mean? For women, that can be quite a challenge. It's like, and that all ties back to childhood. Like when you and I were crying or we were angry, like it's pretty rare that you see parents who are like, good, express your emotions. Like, no, like most parents were like, shh, it's okay. Like go to your room. Like if you act out. And what that tells the child who is dependent on the parents to survive, what that tells us, our little malleable brains, is that my emotions are not acceptable. If I express myself, I will be rejected. My emotions are not valid. And that is like the core problem of humanity. It's all this emotional constipation that we deal with, and like with time it piles up, right? And our bodies become more dense, and then we feel exhausted, we feel depressed, we feel lost because we're not listening to the information of our emotions. They're not guiding us, right? And then we're also not allowing them to pass freely to the body. So Vipassana is good because, we can sit with it and like observe the pain. And with observing the pain, there's this magical alchemy that happens. Like you experience it, I'm sure. Like we have like, our point in the back. And then like I remember like just observing it, bring all my attention to this point of tension in my upper shoulder. And after some time, it just like, it transmutes into like this spaciousness and this even like pleasant feeling. This is alchemy. This is magic. This is like, and everyone can do that. Today, you have an emotion, you sit with it, you feel it, not trying to run away from it, but to even like turn it to a 10, turn it and like offer it like full presence, full devotion, and full like equanimity, as you said. Like, I'm not judging it as bad or good. I'm just being with it. And that's what happens. And it's good to sit again. It's good to sit in silence. And sometimes what we need to do is to scream, is to yell, is to punch pillows, is to let that be expressed. So sometimes I love Vipassana, and it will never be my only practice because, it's strict, it's clean, but we're also human beings. We are, emotional creatures. So it's also beautiful to live these emotions, to express them.
It's called to let sankharas go. And this word, sankhara, it's from Sanskrit. I don't know how exactly it's translated, but sankharas, it's those blockages which are stored in our body, and they can be stored from this life or past lives. And Vipassana is one way to release it. It's when you just observe it, and it's painful. You want to avoid it, but this is just like old neuropath. And to create a new neuropath and to rebuild your body on genetical level, you just need to stay there and observe and be neutral to it. And then it just like goes on the surface and it releases. And one way is Vipassana, and the other way to release sankharas is actually sexual practices. I have a friend who is also a sexual coach, and she told me that there is a certain practices which release, they give the same effect through different, you probably know better which ones, but yeah, it's the same idea, because we don't want it to be stored in our body and we don't want to carry too much on our shoulders.
Exactly. Well, let's talk about this, because I think this is one of the foundational practices. So what I tell clients is that you take a shower in the morning, right? You want to smell good. In the same way, we must clean and wash our energetic body, just like we brush our teeth. So there are different practices to do that. And, I've tried different modalities. I've tried ayahuasca and, of course, Vipassana. And all of these different modalities and energies can clear our bodies. But in all the trainings that I've done, so I've done ISTA, and this is one of the trainings I would recommend everyone to try. So we did this practice called Sacred Spot, which basically stimulates sexual energy, and we bring it in different places of the body. We direct sexual energy, like we stimulate, erogenous zones, and we bring the sexual energy to these blocks. And the thing with sexual energy is that it is this most potent fire. Like there's nothing as powerful as sexual energy, because it can create life, like nothing. Your sexual energy is what allows us actually to speak right now, to create, to make art. We can write books and we can make babies with it. So it's so powerful. So to use it to clear the body, to direct it consciously with an intent of healing. A lot of people are wasting their sexual energy on a daily basis, like to watch porn, or like, there are a lot of addictions around that, but it's so sacred. It's so pure. It's so beautiful. So imagine that, we use our self-pleasure technique to visualize the energy moving up in different places of the body that needs to be tonified, that needs to be cleared. We bring the energy to our heart. We move the energy. We use that fire to clear us, to dissolve any blockages, right? So we energize our full body. We allow it to clear the blocks. And the next thing you know, you feel more spaciousness, more flow, energy. Then you feel high. You feel so good.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful feeling. It's a big realization. It's the importance of clearing. We are made of energy. We are energetic bodies. So yes, let's take a shower, and also every morning to shake, to breathe, to use breath, sound, and movement. Breath, sound, and movement to just like shake, to move, to shake, to dance, whatever the body needs to do to clear itself. That's our main job. When the body is clear, after that, you and I, we sit down, and then we are like clear antennas. Then we don't need to force anything. We don't need to try to get inspired. We're just clear channels, clear antennas. The energy is clear, clean, the blockages are gone, and we can sit and receive.
And then we don't even need coffee.
Yeah, exactly. I don't drink coffee, and I have so much energy. Sometimes I wish I could bottle my energy.
This is amazing. Yes. It's similar to what kundalini energy does. It's based on the spine of our, on the sacrum, and it goes up and through the spine and goes to the top of the head. And Joe Dispenza also, the way he teaches his practices also, they are about squeezing this energy and like pushing it to the top of the head and hold it at the bottom and then release. And he guides through breath work during this, and it's very powerful practice as well. Yeah, so much
is kundalini energy. I mean, there are different terms. Some people I think some people, may be shy or uncomfortable with sexual energy, and we can call it life force, prana. Like there are so many ways. It's just what keeps us alive. If you look at nature, and nature is always blooming and expanding, like flowers are having sex too, and bees, and like it's still this like co-creation process that is constantly taking place. But there's no conditioning from the church. There's no judgment around it. And so in this case, we observe it, oh, nature is just alive. No, it's this orgasmic impulse that is constantly like kind of
I love that.
allowing the universe to express itself and to grow and to create. And we are the same. Now we attributed all these stories of control for different reasons, so that, women wouldn't be sexually liberated, we would be kept, controlled and like monogamous, so that we could like fulfill our duties with our husbands. And there's so much power there when a woman is sexually liberated. And this doesn't mean to sleep with a bunch of people, not at all. It can very much be monogamy and choosing marriage, but it's how we use that energy. And right now I see a lot of people, they're exhausted, they're depressed. And I look at them and I'm like, you don't need another pill. You need a
Yeah.
really good orgasm right now. Good love making session. You need a big hug. And so it's like this path for me, it's been like going from like very fancy healing modalities and spiritual concepts to things that are very simple, like hugs and sunlight and water and sleep.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Basic things. Yeah, it all goes to fundamentals. Absolutely. And I'm so excited to have this retreat with you and try all of these practices. A
Yeah.
little bit of content. We are planning to have a women's retreat in Mexico in April 17th to 22nd. And we will be practicing this every day in the morning to really share all the instruments we have as much as possible, so you can take them home and apply in your life when you come back. So you'll have a chance to experience how to live yourself and fully the energy within you, and to embody that divine feminine, and then take it with you as a
Exactly.
gift. Yeah.
And the rest comes naturally. When we become magnetic, when our energy is high, when the frequency is high, then the money, the love, all that we need comes to us effortlessly. So that's a path of the feminine, is the returning to this effortless, this flow, this ease.
Absolutely.
To remember that God loves us enough to want that again, that ease, that flow. Because for so long, man, I was working so hard and draining myself and draining this feminine battery in me.
I
So
want,
yeah,
I want to
you,
share something here.
yes,
Yeah, absolutely. I so much resonate with what you're saying. And it's just like emotions overflow in me right now, because that's something what I experienced in my life. I used to live in New York, and I worked so hard, like 12 hours a day. I would work overnight. I would come back home like almost close to the morning, because also the transportation between Brooklyn and New York was at the night almost 2 hours. I was so exhausted, and I would go to college. I would also try to build business on the side. I was exhausted. I was just a machine. I was in my early 20s, but I looked older than I look right now. And I was so unhappy and drained and had seasonal depressions. And my relationship with men, like I've got lucky with men I've met before, like through entire life, but it was never like, something was always wrong. It was nice people, but something was off. And then I always felt like I need to have men next to me, because without men I'm nobody. I need to feel loved. I need men to feel loved. I need men to support me, to hold my back if something goes wrong. And like I would always jump from relationship to relationship, because I wasn't able to be by myself. And then at some point, at the age around 27, I think, yeah, it was 27 actually. We talked about this with Aude, because she also said that this experience happened when she was 27, right? This out of body experience. Yeah. So my realization also arrived at this time. And I was like, you know what? I'm just tired from all of this, from chasing perfect man and relationship, from chasing jobs, from making my like ends meet in my life, from like going through this rat race in New York, paying bills and work so hard. And I decided to just turn around and like change my life completely. I decided to just start enjoy life
Beautiful.
and to do what I love. I was like, oh, like forget about all these boyfriends, forget about job I hate. I just gonna do what I love. What do I love to do? Interesting. Okay, I think I love traveling. So I started to travel. Then I was like, and it's also important, you often don't know what you love until you stop and ask yourself. So asking myself this question was really, really helpful. Then I realized I love bodybuilding. I love body and I want to have amazing, sexy body and to feel so confident in it. And I decided to do bodybuilding competitions.
Wow.
And it was such a random decision. And like I saw bodybuilding competitions before, but I never thought I would ever be able to do that. But as soon as I made decision, I've met amazing personal trainer and he shaped my body in just 5 months.
Wow.
And in 5 months, I was on the stages in New York and New York area, and I was in top 3. I won like multiple competitions. I took 2nd place, I took 3rd place, again 3rd, and I competed until I took 1st one in Canada. And then I was like, okay, I'm done. Next. What is next? And I switched from bodybuilding to yoga because yoga is more about the connection. It's not just body, it's body and mind and soul. So yoga, I realized it's much more deeper. But at that point, I'm like, oh, amazing. So I started to do that. And the other thing which I always loved was self-development. I'm into self-development since I was 18. So it's been already 14 years since I'm constantly learning all the tools to become better version of myself and instruments to have a joyful life and this liberation and happiness and all of that. So I decided to go a Tony Robbins seminar because why not? He's a great coach, and I felt calling to go there. And I just forget about everything I don't like. At that point, I had relationship where I was on and off. We were like dating and not dating, and I was like, oh, whatever happens, that happens. And I go to Tony Robbins seminar between my competitions, and over there we have this powerful meditation where at the end of meditation, I have very clear essence of who I want to have in my life as a man, what kind of relationship, what kind of house, what kind of lifestyle. And I realized that guy I've been seeing, it's not going to work. I'm going to come back and just say that that's it. It's like just a waste of time. And I decided that, yeah, I'm ready for those like ultimate relationship with my soulmate where we're both so happy. And once meditation was over, I saw my future husband. We just saw each other, like our eyes met, and we both had this intuition, strong intuition. He realized right away, oh, this is my future wife. And I looked at him and I just recognized his soul. I felt like I've met him somewhere. I didn't know where, probably in past life, but he just seemed so familiar and so like a family. And we couldn't talk because we were too far from each other, but he already started to call his friends and tell them that I've met my future wife. And they were like, what's her name? He said, I don't know. I'll need to find out. And then he was chasing me for a couple of days. And at the end, we met and everything was just so fast. Right away, he invited me for a date. In a few weeks, I went to Canada. I've met his family. And in a year, we've got married. So the lesson here is whenever you release control and decide to stop suffering and just enjoy life the fullest, and you start to follow your heart, because your heart is connection to your highest self, to your intuition, to your guidance, to something bigger than your mind can understand. It's a connection to the creator. And then you just like all life transforms. And what I'm passionate about is to share this wisdom with women who want to be happy, who want to have easy and joyful life, full of pleasure, love, great sexual experiences. And I want to give them all the instruments I had to get there and to guide them so they can experience the same. Because I believe that every woman deserves to be happy, deserves to be loved, and deserve to be well fucked. That's what you said.
And yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because like this, I know, what's the name of this woman?
Kimamani.
Kimanami. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
she's here. I love her. Yeah.
Yeah, she's amazing. She has this term, well-fucked woman. So basically, a happy woman is well-fucked woman. And she doesn't need a man for that. That's the
Yeah,
thing.
that's also true. And I love your story. It gave me chills all over. And it's so
Oh, thank you.
exciting. And there's something about when we learn meditation, we learn to focus on our body, on our sensations, and energy flows where attention goes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I focus on my body, I'm actually charging my body and making myself more electrical. I'm investing the energy in my body. And so if I'm constantly looking outside of me, like frantically being on dating apps and searching for things and looking at other people, comparing myself, seeking, trying, chasing, my energy is looking outwards. And my energy is going outwards. And I'm depleting myself. And so what you did, you turned it around. You surrender. It's like no more trying, no more chasing, no more looking outside of me for the answers. You brought it inwards, and that charged you up to the point that your frequency was so high that it could be at the frequency of love, and love could happen, it could be sparked. And so that's one of the biggest mistakes. We're so distracted. There's so much outside of us that is taking our attention outside of us that we become depleted, and people were walking around with low frequencies. And that is true for everything. Any time that I tried to lose weight in my life, I gained weight. Every time I tried to make money, money didn't come. But the moment that we relax, the moment that we soften, the things can finally find a space and the magnetism within us to come to us. And that's one of the biggest hack, or the biggest challenges for human life, because our minds are trained to work hard, to control, to plan, to do things. Like what did school teach us is how to think, how to control, how to do things, We didn't learn meditation or how to energize the right thoughts, or yes, so it's a master skill. It's really exciting that you had the intuition to just do what made you happy, and that happiness naturally attracted this big love.
Absolutely. And even for those women who already have partner or a husband, it also works, because you, like, as soon as you are as a woman happy and fulfilled, you have this energy, you can transfer this energy to your man. And the difference between masculine and feminine, between man and woman, is that woman can charge herself from little things. Like she can see flower and she can like look at it like with presence, and they get the energy out of flower and like inspiration. And she's like, oh, this flower is so amazing, and the smell, and I feel divinity when I like look at this flower. Man cannot feel divinity when he looks at flower, like rarely. Or like we can connect with animal and get fully recharged and hug tree and we are recharged. Man can only get recharged from woman, and specifically from her womb, because that's where energy stores. We have a womb, this sacred place which bring souls from other worlds, non-physical world, to the physical world. And this is the place with the creative energy. So we can easily tap into that through different practices, through connection to nature. And for men, it's a little bit more challenging. Of course, for some men, it's easier if they more open-minded and they have different practices, but overall. And I would even say that it's a women's responsibility to make her man fulfilled and happy, and like to help him embrace his full potential. Because when woman is thriving, it's more often that man is more successful next to her. And from my own experience, we've been already married to with my husband, and he was always ambitious guy, but at that moment he was making a certain salary. And when we started to date, since I like to be in more relaxed state, I don't like to work hard. I like to play. I like to do what I love. And I was never able to be employed. It would be always for very short time, and then it would be just no, I want to do what I love. And there was some some moments between us when we had to figure out who is contributing and how much and how, because in Canada it's very traditional that men and women are equal and they contribute equally, versus in my background in Eastern Europe, it's more about roles, and man is usually provider, and women, she's more like she's like that nurturing energy, and she creates a coziness in the house. And that's what I brought to our marriage, also this mindset. And it was a little bit shocking to him at the beginning, but then he realized, well, I actually love that she's happy and she's enjoying herself, and like she inspires me so much. Maybe I should just make more money. And he switched. He actually, he told his boss that he considers to switch job, and they gave him raise.
Wow.
So it's like was affected by me pretty much. Yeah, I'm so modest. Yeah, and then in more time, he reached the status of a millionaire. So it happened also while he was with me, and I believe there is my contribution too, because of the environment I create for him to fully focus at the job. Because I always in a good mood. If he's disappointed, I give him that nurturing energy. The house always has great energy, and like he's so happy that he can just focus on hunting money and career and all of this. So
Beautiful.
it's really, it's nice to have this realization that you have this power as a woman to nurture your man. Wherever he is right now, you can nurture and contribute to his realization. And by that, become also more liberated and more happy in doing what you love.
Exactly. We are all priestesses. I mean, when we think about Mary Magdalene, she was not a prostitute. She was a priestess in from the temple of Isis. And what she did with Jesus were energetic practices to amplify his energetic body. And so the way I see it, it's like, for men, keep me physically safe. And for women, I will keep you energetically safe and expanded. You know, that we are masters of the emotional, energetic realm. We understand, how energy, emotions move in the body. And so to offer that to a man is an incredible gift. And also there's like an important point. It's like for a woman to offer that radiance, that nourishment, that energetic nourishment to a man, we must release body shame. We must be well in our bodies and see our divinity and see ourselves as divine creatures. One of the biggest challenges, so 91% of women don't like their bodies. Like, they will never need to be seen naked or to be fully appreciated by their partners. Women tend to be concerned with the way we look and our weight and our smell and so on. So when we are in our heads and our thoughts and our judgment, we're actually not allowing ourselves to be seen and that energy to radiate, and for the men to find nourishment in that. So one of the key steps in offering that energetic gift to a man is to fall in love with our bodies, to see how powerful our pussies are, to see like how they are portal to life, and to see how every part of us is this blooming flower. And so at our retreat, we'll see how it unfolds. There are different exercises, the depth that we can go to, but really for me, one of the biggest life-changing practices has been to explore nudity in a safe, structured context that is non-sexual, to release all the shame around my body. And I know this may sound intense for some people. It's like, whoa, to be naked with another woman, like that would be unacceptable. That would be like so uncomfortable. And it is uncomfortable for a few seconds, a few minutes. After that, you remember that we used to bathe together. We used to braid each other's hair. And there's a softness and an innocence, a playfulness, a sacredness in the body. And when we release all the heavy conditioning, the shame that the media has put in our heads, that the church has put in our heads, when you release that and you come at peace with your body, and even you don't have to be naked with other people if that's not comfortable. It's always like based on consent, of course. But even to be naked with yourself. So I would invite women when you take a shower, instead of just like quickly washing you in this like masculine way just to get things done and to get on with your morning, to take a moment to wash yourself, to bathe, to take a moment with your body with reverence. It's like an act of love. And even like take that moment to do breast massage, like feel your curves. And as you see your beauty, then your partner may see even more of your beauty. But as long as we hold the shame, the contraction, the judgment, the thinking, the comparison with other women, we're not free. And we're not allowing that beautiful feminine energy to be felt. And even like dance naked in front of your mirror. I've to admit at Vipassana, that was not forbidden. When I take a shower, I did my like sexy dance in the mirror and just like being with my body, like feeling at home in my body, loving myself. And after that, the man can be like, wow, it's so juicy and fertile for a man to like connect to a well-energized and a well-loved body.
Yeah, I would love to share a practice which became one of my favorite and also allowed me to connect to my body and build relationship with it and to fall in love with it. It's called oiling. It's an ancient Ayurvedic practice where you oil your body. You use there. It can be different types of oils, but one of my favorite is cedar, and I mix it with coconut oil. And you basically start with the top of your head, and you start to oiling and massaging your head. Then you go to your face, every little area of your body. You touch everything. Then you go to your breast. You do breast massage. You go to your back, your hands. You go lower to your stomach, lower back. Then you go to your yoni. You massage it within. You go, you continue to massage your body and put oil to your legs, to your finger toes. And then eventually your body becomes covered in oil from top to toes. And then you stay with this oil for a little while, about 30-40 minutes. I love to play mantras or some spiritual music. And it's just your sacred time where you stay with yourself. And then you just wash it away. And to wash it away easily, I recommend to use the oat flour. Or there is also some Indian thing, which I don't remember the name, but I can put it in description of the episode in notes to help it wash off, because sometimes it's challenging to wash oil off. But it feels so amazing. The entire body is so nourished, filled with this juice. And it's also, it's on the physical level and also on the energetical level. You give all this attention and love to yourself. And then it's like the entire world starts to spin around you. Versus usually we are in our minds, in our heads, at workplace or somewhere else, but we're not in the body. And this practice is so helpful to come back to the body and to fall in love with the body. So powerful.
It's so life-changing to turn the thinking around. Instead of how can men love me? What is he thinking about me? Turn it around. How can I love myself well? And I know we always talk about self-love, and it sounds, it's easier said than done, but like these simple practices, like love is an action. So it's not about like, for a long time I was just like journaling about self-love. Like, yes, the mantras, it's good. And also, just like you would do to lover, to take this time for yourself, to massage yourself, to self-pleasure, to move that energy. Another practice for me that was life-changing is to look at your yoni with a mirror, and to look at her and to see its power, and to feel where is there any shame or any contraction or any judgment. It is important to know ourselves, to know our bodies, and to fall in love with them. So yes, definitely. Full practice like this sounds divine.
Yes, yoni gazing is powerful too. And even just when you walk around the house and you face mirror, just like stop for a second and give yourself a loving look, and like even play a little bit with
Yeah.
yourself in the mirror, just a playful smile or a playful wink. Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I see you, you're sexy, you're
Yeah.
beautiful. And then it changes the way men start to perceive you.
Exactly.
Because it's like, it's the energy from within. If we are unconfident in our body and we don't like the way we look, they
Yeah.
feel it. But then even you can put as much makeup as you want, they feel it. But
Yeah.
then you can be without makeup, wearing pajama, but have this confidence from within and they feel it too.
Yeah.
It's amazing how it works.
2 things. When I was at Vipassana, there were 2 women that really, like, at some point, they strike me with their beauty. And I felt in that moment some comparison and jealousy and judgment, you know? Instead of just appreciating the beauty, something that happens with women, like jealousy and comparison are true poisons. And the problem with jealousy is that I'm looking at something that I want, beauty, vitality, and I'm applying this negative emotion towards it. So I'm blocking it from seeing it for myself, from having more of it, from experiencing it. So we have to really catch ourselves when we are scrolling on social media, when we are looking at other women and you see another beautiful woman. Like, to be jealous is this scarcity mindset that there's not enough beauty for everyone. It's like, no, there's abundant amounts of beauty. There's infinite beauty for everyone. And so what I did with that moment, I caught myself. I observed the jealousy, the separation that I created in seeing beauty in another woman. And I held myself, like, with compassion, um, and reminded myself that I am beautiful in my own unique ways, and to feel the abundance of that. And instead, I made it a conscious effort to simply appreciate and celebrate their beauty. And I even went to talk to to compliment them and tell them how beautiful they are. So in the celebration and the appreciation, then the beauty can grow, you know? So the retreat will all be women together, and there might be sometimes, then the woman walks in with her beautiful gown or dress, and it's like there will be a moment that someone may feel jealousy or comparison. But remind yourself that when you are jealous, you're actually creating separation and not reminding yourself that you are beautiful, not seeing it in yourself as if she had something you didn't have. But that's not true. We're all beautiful. We're all in our own unique ways. So to catch that, and for me, the graduation was to actually compliment her, to celebrate her beauty, and to remind myself that it's available for everyone. Um, so that was like the jealousy for women, I think, like, to let go of that and to come back to sisterhood, to come back together. And also that's really important for our magnetism. We put a lot of pressure on men today to give us things, to, to nourish us with things. And yes, men are natural providers, but there's also something that only a woman can give a woman. And there's this softness, this communication, this support, this emotional support that I think is really important for women to be free, for women to be fully energized and magnetic. There's so much power in women coming together. So that's why I'm so excited for a retreat. Like,
Me
every time I've been
too.
part of a retreat, it's like the friendships that we form, the bonds, it is so extremely healing. And that's something that we forgot in this monogamic structure, is that this monogamous model in which we're like, oh, you have to be my everything. But it's like, when I go to these retreats, the intimacy that I experience with a woman is life-changing. It is so profound.
Absolutely, yes. I also truly believe that every woman is beautiful. It's just that she never was able to tap into this beauty. And one of the intention for our retreat is to help each woman to connect to this divine feminine beauty and to see it through the practices which we're gonna show, and through at the end through celebration of each of women, because we'll have a ceremony at the end of celebration. And we also will have a professional photo shoot for those women because we want them to remember the state. So it will be a journey. They will probably, it may be actually a great idea to take a picture before and after.
Good idea. That's a great idea.
Yeah, because at the end they will, like, the one of the purpose of this retreat is to feel, for each of our guests to feel like a goddess at the end. And we want a shot of this photo so they can remember that, even if they come back and all this noise. distract them from this, and maybe they will stop belief for a moment. Then they would see this picture and be like, oh yes, I'm fucking goddess. Yes, I'll put this on my on the screen of my phone or somewhere else on Instagram page.
Beautiful.
So
There's only so much we can do with green juices, yoga, and going to the gym. Like that is important, but our emotional body must be cared for and detoxified. And as we release that, we change. As you said, like I used to look much older than I do now.
same.
And I had white hair that disappeared. My cellulite disappeared. Like I had wrinkles that disappeared just because my amount of joy and self-love and appreciation for myself grew. And also my inner little girl, to allow her to play. It is a very important quality for a woman to be like in this very like playful energy. And men love that, it's so nourishing for them instead of just being like, I am a masculine woman. I need to get things done and I need to lead things. That is so depleting to ourselves. But the playfulness, the dancing, making art, enjoying beauty, as you said, like witnessing the flowers, being in nature, like this is so, again, nourishing. So for me, I've seen myself grow younger as I come back to my feminine energy. And that is something I can only, even my breasts have become like perkier and firmer. Like it's just everything has changed. And that comes from within, from that inner work. And it takes courage. And we're not supposed to do it alone. We're not supposed, like, we can read the books and everything, but I've gone to retreats all over the world with other women, and to be held, by another woman, like when you cry and when things break down, like it's really important. It is true. Like it's,
Absolutely.
yeah, there's so much we can do on our own, and we're meant for community. We're meant for sisterhood. So I'm so excited.
Yeah, me too. And every woman is a powerful creature. And we can either use this power to build competition and like show who is stronger and who is more beautiful, or we can direct this energy to help each other to open up and show their strengths, and that will make us even stronger. That's why I always was so passionate about women's circles, women's retreat, because I just see how this is so healing. Every time I led women's circle, at least one girl was crying, usually multiple. Just like because we need this space so much, this sisterhood, this where we can feel a little bit witchy. Yeah, this is
I
so
often
important.
thought, like when we are deep in process and we go to in these rituals that we've forgotten, it's I look at it and I'm just so in awe, and it feels like a revolution. It feels like that which we need to come back. And also I get chills all over my body when I see men circle and work. And so, because again, for them to go in this warrior energy, like the divine feminine needs the divine masculine and so on. Like it's one of the same, and we need one another. So it's beautiful. As we're doing the work, it also inspires, it calls this masculinity in your partner. So for you, like the more you allowed yourself to soften in your feminine energy, you saw the inner warrior and the provider expand in your man. So right now you're in a relationship and you're like, I wish that my husband, my partner, my boyfriend was more masculine and I just like had more leadership. You cannot force him to change. You cannot change him. But by you changing, by you stepping and relaxing into your feminine essence, naturally, because of the laws of polarity, you will naturally magnetize a different reality in your life. So stop trying to change him. Stop trying to make him do the work. Just come back to yourself. Do the work,
Absolutely.
relax in your feminine essence, and like magic, then your partner is revealed into this more masculine essence. It's really beautiful.
Absolutely. I've heard so many stories like that when women were constantly trying to control and change him for many, many years, nothing would change. And then she would start to do her own work. And all of a sudden she's like, what? This happens all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And overall, it's never good to change anyone or to try to help someone or save someone unless they ask you to.
Exactly.
It's always just waste of time. Just all we need to change is us.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And yeah, I'm so grateful that we met at Vipassana. Every time that I go to a retreat, I make these lifelong friendships, and it's so beautiful. And for 10 days also, like I prayed and I brought the energy to my heart, and I visualized the man I wanted to be with. And the day after getting out of Vipassana, I went on a date, and this man was exactly what I prayed for. So
Wow.
yeah, now I'm in Mexico, but he's coming to see me soon, and we'll see. So we're in a beautiful vortex of love and creation right now. It's gonna be so nice to share that with other women.
This is so amazing. Yes, so exciting. And
Yeah.
let's share a little bit more about our retreat. What's the agenda there? What's the idea, intention of that retreat?
For sure. Well, we are bringing different skills and magic powers to the retreat. So that's the power, again, of collaboration. This is an era of collaboration. Women coming together of this circular power instead of having like the one like leader, like, and even so, like, I want to empower every woman to join us to share themselves, to shine. So for me, I will offer tools around clearing blockages in the body, increasing sexual energy so that you feel fully nourished, you feel magnetic, and you see your beauty as a woman. And that will change everything. It will make you more confident in relationship and business, and that magnetism will attract beautiful things in your life. And so every morning we'll do different practices that have been life changing. For me, every minute I invest in my morning practices that are so sacred, it benefits the rest of my day. So it's like the best investment. It is so precious to have this time for ourselves. Woman, one of the shadows in our nurturing aspect is that we can mother other people and give too much of ourselves and deplete ourselves. So self-care, you see it on Instagram, the quotes all the time, like self-care is not selfish. Okay, that all sounds good. But to have the space and the facility, we'll go to the hot springs and we'll go in the sauna and you'll get a beautiful massage. And so again, to give you this gift, to invest in yourself and concretely love yourself. So we'll do a lot of that. I'm a Taurus. I'm all about body self-care. Every morning I do my yoga, breath work. Here we have two saunas. I'm going to sauna and cold plunge, and that electrifies my body for the rest of the day.
Wow. Mhm.
You'll get this opportunity to feel blissful, to recharge your body, to clear the blocks so that you feel this natural high that somehow attracts everything you desire instead of just going at it from your mind and trying to make things happen, trying to manifest things just from your head. But it's an energetic dance. And so once we clear and amplify your energetic body, the rest is magic and easy.
Absolutely. Yes. And I will share my knowledge on women's magic because it's something I discovered around that time when I was 27. And it was a life changing course I took.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I took multiple on this topic. And it's something what I started to apply into my life. And it was like, I started to apply it. It was November. And in January, I think I've got a car from a man as a gift. So
Mm.
that is woman's
Oh my,
magic when
oh
you
my
start
God.
to receiving gifts like that, like cars and rings, and it's just like it changes men so much around you, and even random men feel it. So all of a sudden, they start to open doors for you. They
Mm,
start to give you seats in a train or bus, or they
mhm,
buy you coffees. Just random men who
mhm,
don't want anything from you. They just see that radiance and they
mhm,
want to reward that radiance. So I will share tools about that. What is women's magic, how it works, and how to apply it in life with just strangers or with your husband.
mhm.
And this is amazing. It's so inspiring. And there is like so much wisdom from Eastern Europe, which I want to bring to this land.
I have to say that there's something. Are you Russian?
I am half Russian, half Ukrainian.
Yes. There's something that Eastern European women have understood about femininity, and you've kept it sacred, and it's so important, like the feminine arts. I find that in the West, there's like, the impact of one wave of feminism has been so toxic and draining for us, and so and each culture has something to learn from each other. So I'm very excited for you to share.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's magic. It's pretty cool.
Yes, this is so exciting.
Tell
And
me.
what is tamazcal? We'll have experience in tamazcal.
Yeah, temazcal is this ancient Mayan ritual that I've taken part of it, a few times. And we go in this womb-like sweat lodge. And it's very confronting in a beautiful way. You're in your body, it brings you so much in your body because the heat is incredible, and you're sweating and it's dark. Um, it is psychedelic in a way, but no substances are given, but you're sweating, and there are like four phases to it with all the elements, with the fire, the water, the air, the earth. And so it's all about letting go and clearing yourself. Um, it is a life-changing experience. If you've never experienced it, you will get a lot out of it. But I feel it's something we should do every week. We don't go to church anymore. So we need to like create our new rituals, our new church. How do we want to come together and have this rhythm of ingesting life, digesting life, and releasing, and like always creating more space for new things to come to us naturally. So tamazcal is one of the best practices that I've seen here. And the location that we're in is heavenly. The first time I went to Villa Shishu, I was like, is this real? Like, with the plants and the birds and the pools, it is so beautiful. There's art everywhere. The owner, Gloria, is all about art and expression, and she is an awakened woman. I mean, the way she loves people, the way she reminds us of her divinity is life-changing. And so in every room, there's handmade art and sculptures. Everything has been made by hand. So as a woman, to bathe in beauty, to bathe in art, to move away from like this efficient kind of dry, gray, like linear world that we tend to be in, and to allow yourself to come back, to relax in nature. It feels like there are fairies everywhere in this location. And then the pastel has been like all painted in like this woman, this female womb. So it's all about like going back in the womb, releasing what no longer serves, and coming out as a new and a more expanded version of you.
So amazing. An entire city is built on stones of rose quartz, right?
Oh my God. I don't know if the energy can permeate the screen in the distance, but it's incredible. In San Miguel, there's a vortex. And yes, it's been built on rose quartz. So the sidewalks in the churches are all pink.
Wow.
And I didn't know about this. When I first arrived there, I was like, I don't know why, but I feel very high right now. As if like, like you had like a lot of coffee and you're just always that energized. I joke that it felt like having having a crystal dildo inside me, like at all times. It feels like you're just like supercharged. You're like supercharged, and it's a beautiful feeling. And that energy can be used for anything. I would say that everyone who has moved there, they experience a miracle business-wise, relationship-wise, because again, it's an energetic dance. So when people are here, things happen. A lot of synchronicities, a lot of flow. So just being in this space, even if you and I offered nothing and we did like no rituals, just being at Villa Shishu in this heavenly decor and like the energy of San Miguel will nourish you. And you will go back home supercharged and things will happen effortlessly.
This is so exciting. Oh.
Yes,
It's amazing. Thank you so much.
you're so
Yeah.
welcome.
And we will also show a little bit of town. We will have some time to work around. So we will be also your guides.
Mhm.
And pretty much the retreat, it's like going to resort because it will be all inclusive. Amazing villas, rooms in villas, and also free food and drinks. We'll have two different packages. Some of them will include massages and some extra bonuses, and just like go into the resort, but also have all these deep feminine practices and also nurturing your soul, nurturing yourself, and learning and healing, which is amazing. Normally, we go to resort and what we like get drunk and get fat. And from this resort, we'll be fully rejuvenated and maybe lose some weight because weight is actually, I believe, I'm a nutrition coach and I've been doing that for many years. But weight, it's something we carry on the mental level. It's something more than just fat.
I agree.
More than just
That was a big
molecules.
realization for me this year. For many years, I struggled with weight. I always kind of wanted to lose 5-10 pounds. There was always like kind of this voice. I was like, I should lose weight. that ironically like prevented me from losing the weight, because when you go in this diet mentality, then the body is like, oh, winter is coming, a scarcity, you know? And so the body then keeps on the weight. For me, that was my experience. And so there needs to be a relaxation and of course some like nutritional basics. And I'm so glad that we're both aligned on that, so that, you know, it's a retreat that is, yes, nourishing, but in the right ways, so that people don't come back even more tired. Like I've been to retreats that you eat like so much carbs and sugar, so your energy is up and down and you're crashing and you feel like heavy. You go back home and it's like so much indulgence that you feel like even more cluttered. So it's important like to feel light, because otherwise we're carrying that weight. Like if you take like a bag, like 5 pounds, like something like of 5 pounds, like put that in your bag, like you feel the weight, but we're carrying that on ourselves and it's heavy. And to let go of that, like to let go of that for the lightness, for the openness, and not to please the media or anyone, like not to please any beauty standard, because that doesn't work. If you do it for other people, if we do it to please other people, to be accepted, to get likes, whatever, to get attention, it won't work. It has to come from within, from this desire to be in your best self, your true body. The question I ask women is like, are you in the body that your soul reflects? Like, is your physical body a loyal representation of how you feel inside? If it's not, it is okay. Like sometimes people are like, just love yourself as you are. You know, there's a lot of that I see on the internet now, as if like if someone is obese, they should be like, should just love that. But that's delicate. Like if you're not comfortable with that, it's okay. Don't judge yourself for judging that, because it can lead to different diseases. So sometimes it's just information that your body actually wants to release the weight that sometimes can use as emotional protection. You know, sometimes we'll do emotional eating. We're not feeling loved. We're not feeling nourished. So we tend to compensate with food. And so I'm excited to offer also that body of wisdom to women, because we deal with food every day. Like it has a big impact on our lives, on our bodies, and then the body changes everything, you know, our relationship with men and so on. So that will be
Absolutely. Yeah. That will be also something you will be able to take home, a guidance on nutrition and
Mhm,
maybe, yeah, totally change your diet from that point.
mhm, mhm,
Absolutely. Yeah. That sounds amazing. And we will be offering early bird discount. So if
mhm,
you reach out to us, you'll get a discount. And soon we'll have everything published. Probably by the time this podcast is produced,
mhm.
all the information will be online. And yeah, what's the best way to reach out to you? And what other services you offering to women?
Yeah, thank you. I'm quite active on Facebook. You can find me. It's Aude, Aude Olivia, and you can follow the content that I create. The body part is very important for me, and also self-expression. You'll see that I tend to share a lot of open, vulnerable stories, and that's also part of emotional hygiene. You know, to not keep all of our stories with ourselves, but to share it in a way that can touch and inspire other people as well. And so that has been a big part of my life. I love writing poetry, so you can follow my content there. I'm active on Instagram as well, and so I coach. I do private coaching, and so if you feel called to do the work and to go deeper, to go faster, I work a lot with the body, and so that, you know, the subconscious mind is projected in the body, so that's why it's often more efficient. And I know you work with the body as well, and so on. So yeah, I would be happy to connect with the woman who resonates with this approach, with this message. For me, it's like I never had the patience to do just talk therapy and to like sit on a chair for years, and it felt like it was quite consuming. So that's why I took the route that was more like a hack, you know? Like how can I dive deeper and release the traumas, the blockages, the fears, transmute that into power, into self-confidence. And for me, mindfulness combined with body practices was really like the magic combination.
That's amazing. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing.
A pleasure.
And any words of wisdom before we finish this episode
Mm.
for our women, for our listeners?
Yeah, to relax, to go with the simple things, to start whatever you're trying to accomplish right now. Let go of the complex approach and instead release the trying, stop trying, and rest. and look at the sun and breathe and ask for a hug, ask for what you need, nourish yourself with simple, simple things. Drink water, breathe from the belly, just like come back to your body and see how that changes your external reality. Just see, just try it for a day. The mind will be like, oh no, I need to work hard so that I make this happen and so on. It's like, but see what happens when you rest and you recharge yourself with the simplest things. Just try it.
Oh, this is so beautiful. Thank you so much.
It's a lot.
Yeah, I'll just add to that last month I was selling my property and I was trying to do lots of repairs and there was so many problems there. And sometimes I just felt so overwhelmed and I couldn't touch my phone anymore. And I would just like tell my husband, let's go to sauna, let's go to spa. And we would go to spa. I would keep my phone away. Then I would come back and all the issues resolved by itself.
Amazing.
So, this works.
Well, I
Thank
think, one last point of proof for that. I think you and I both in January, we went to Vipassana for 10 days. And business-wise, January was the best month for me. I made more money in January than in the previous 6 months. And like I met an amazing man who so wants to be with me and miracles happened with my family and so on. And even though I took a third of the month to do nothing else but to observe my breath and my sensation in my body. Like there's no greater disconnection from the physical world, from the external world than the Vipassana. So you and I, even though we took it, it's a courageous choice, to be like, okay, the year is starting. I'm going to take 10 days to go sit in silence, to relax, to come back and to walk in nature. We had these beautiful walks in the forest with the sparkling snow. And amidst that deep rest, we had great months for business, for relationships, for health. So there's so many proof points to show that it works.
Absolutely. Yeah. Same. January was the best month for me. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to Vipassana. Yes.
So good.
Yes. Amazing. So excited for this retreat. It's going to be something. And I
Amazing.
hope that we'll just make it on a consistent base, maybe have it a few times a year.
Sure.
But yeah, let's make the first one happen and see from there.
We're so excited to meet you in person. It's going to be a beautiful ride.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing all your wisdom and
My
excited
pleasure.
to see you in Mexico.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. Thank you for making this space.
Thank you. Bye bye.